Oh, hello. Do you want to hear a story? Well, okay then. Once upon a time, in an off-sales or liquor store near you, stood a dusty, old, non-age stated whiskey. Hello, welcome to another whiskey review with me, the Whiskey Novice. It's great to be back as always. Thank you for joining me for review number 107, part 6 of a series looking at some non-age stated whiskies. This time we're back to Islay and a whiskey from Bunnahabhain Stiùireadair, helmsman apparently. And this whiskey to me is going to prove something. So we'll get to that. That's just, well, look, one of my coins top in my glass there. If you wish to to know just a bit of, once again, shameless advertising. If you wish to know where to get one of those coins, just contact me in some way, shape or form. Yes, this whiskey from Islay, owned by Distillery, proves a little something to me, and this whiskey isn't alone in proving a little something to me. Now, let's get to the goods about this whiskey, shall we? Let's get to the good parts. This you can pick up for 25 to 35 pounds. It's an entry level whiskey. I think this one, there's this, and I think they're pretty much their non-age statement, that Tuck Akada, whatever you call it, and probably even the Moyne, although I think the Moyne creeps up in the price a little, is sort of their entry level. And I know the 12 falls in there as well, but we'll get to it later as well. This, as I said, or might have mentioned, comes in around 25 to 35 pounds, which is good. It's a good price. It's a single malt whiskey. Not only is it a single malt whiskey, but it's bottled at 46.3%. Happy days. It's non-chill filtered. There's no colour added. Also, happy days. So look, barring an age statement, this on paper is good stuff. And it's sort of there that for me, the good of this whiskey ends. Because it proves to me, this whiskey, that just because it's bottled at 46% plus, just because it's non-chill filtered, just because there's no colour added, just because it's affordable, doesn't make it great or even good whiskey, I'm going to suggest. Bunnahabhain tends to let me down a little. Brave words. I feel like a target has just appeared upon me. It can be a little one-dimensional, and this, for me, is a prime example of that. It's that syrupy, malty, yeasty, slightly sickly, oily, over-stewed apples, a little briny, sweet mince pies and lemon peel thing. Now, that sounded like quite a lot. This is matured in first and second fill sherry casks. I would be expecting at 46.3%. It's young, obviously. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's young, because for first and second fill sherry casks, there ain't a lot going on in this for me. It's one-dimensional. And in that one dimension, it is all that syrupy, yeasty, slightly sickly, just, there's not a lot going on apart from notes that I would rather live without, if that makes sense. It is one dimension. It's flaccid. There's not a lot going on in it. Right. a savoury, slightly bitter, a little creamy arrival. It feels like it's lacking sweetness or a sharpness or something, just to make it, just to pull it together there, just to make it bounce. It's still got that syrupy, oily feel about it, which I know is a Bunnahabhain trademark almost. And yet again, it's one of those things that I was going to hit upon later, but I think I'll play this card in here. To me, Bunnahabhain starts to spark at the 12-year-old, which, as I mentioned earlier, is in around that entry level, in around their core range. You don't go too far into Bunnahabhain before you reach the 12-year-old. And it starts to spark there. And when you get into their either independent bottlings of Bunnahabhain or into their some of the fish ale releases, and it seems to be the limited releases and bottlings like that, this whiskey's outstanding. It just comes to life. They're just whatever they've managed to achieve then that they don't do in these core range, as I said earlier, flaccid. I can't remember whether I reviewed the Moyne or not, but the Moyne even just... Anyway, getting back to this. Sorry, I was going off on a rant there about this. It's hot, which yet again I think ties into being young. It's a little bitter, one-dimensional, lacking one good note to either tie it together or make it zing. Just it feels like it's lacking not even just one good note, but I mean one good note might make this into a better whiskey. And to me, it's just lacking in a lot of places. There's a lot could be done with this to make it so much better. Sits a while. There's some fruitier notes, some slightly orangey, limey notes start to come through. But honestly, I'll not replace this. I wouldn't. This could sit in my cabinet for quite a while. It's been there for a while already. It's, although you can't really see it there, there's not, I mean, there's only about a third of the bottle left. I have worked on it. It could sit for a while yet. It really could. I wouldn't replace it. Finish. Short-ish, short to medium. That oily, slightly peppery thing still coming through. There's a hint of cinnamon about it. So yeah, it's definitely not for me, this one. I'll not add water to it yet again. The nose, I added a drop of water when I was taking my tasting notes, and for 46.3%, it was a drop, and it just broke up and just became wet. In my opinion, the nose, after a while, started to liven a bit and became more about fresh fruit, but it took it a while. And it just, to me, it needs something. But it needs to be something, whatever it is that it needs to be something bold. And then the texture of that Bunnahabhain will make whatever that bold note is come together. I'm convinced of it. Because the 12 is a great whiskey. I think we know the 12 is a great whiskey. As I said earlier, some great independent bottlings. When you get into the stranger, not the stranger, but the more limited releases, they're incredible. But at that point, hard to get. I'm not putting Bunnahabhain down by any means. But strong words, I wouldn't recommend this. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. So we'll just move on, shall we? So yeah, you've bought this to venture into Bunnahabhain, shall we say. You've maybe, let's say you've seen it for £25, because that's what I picked this up for, which was a good price. So let's say you've seen it for £25. You ventured into Bunnahabhain and you thought, yeah, I quite like that. I like the style of it. I like the feel of it, because it is about feel. It is that syrupy, oily, yeasty sort of thing for me. Where do you go? Well, it was quite easy for me actually just to say, look, and this is what I'm going to do. Just buy that. Just do yourself a favour. I'm going to do myself a favour. Watch. Now, any other time I would have poured that on the floor. But because I'm because I'm on the second floor, that would have ended up on the first floor. So I will not just fire it out on the floor. Yeah, do yourself a favour. If you bought this and liked it, buy the 12-year-old. You see, there's coffee there. There's hints of I was even getting slightly more vegetative hints, and I literally just poured it in there. I can't even remember off the top of my head here, and my eyesight isn't good enough anymore to remember how that is matured. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's zinging around the back of the palate. It's slightly dry, but there's something there that this is lacking. There's something in the palate. I can't just put my finger on it right now. I'll just put the tag up here from a review, and it'll tell you what I thought of it. So yeah, if you like the Bunnahabhain Stiùireadair, the helmsman, pick up the 12-year-old instead. It's much better. Can't say much more than that about that. No, this definitely wouldn't be for me. I know there are those out there who like it. I have watched reviews, I've heard of those that saying, you know, give this time, let it rest, let it settle. How long, really, do you want to wait on a dram that's not much, you know, even at letting it rest, it's still not going to be much more than just all right. So I'm not willing to wait that long on it. It's not good enough in my impression, in my opinion, should I say. Yeah, just buy the 12-year-old. Yep. So we'll leave it at that, and I will say thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very, very much to my patrons. If you wish to join that group, the details are below. Until the next time, my friends, here's your good health. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.